Howdy, howdy. Welcome on into the pre-show before the pre-show.
See, now that's how you kick off football season.
Death Blade!
Go! Kick off football season with a surprise Greg Powers.
He's back.
Bonus powers, so to speak.
He's never been more back.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome into the pre-show before the pre-show. I am Greg. That is Ashley. It is football season.
And that is Greg.
That is Greg. He'll be joining us at the desk here in a moment.
Or now.
Or I mean at the desk.
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
He's not at the desk. He's at a desk.
This is true.
Welcome into the pre-show before the pre-show. Pickle, did you watch any of the football ball this weekend? There was football ball this weekend.
No, I intentionally avoided watching any football this weekend.
Because there were some.
To get my mind right and ready, locked and loaded.
Tarleton, a thrilling win over McNeese on national television. Very cool. There were some other...
Georgia. I did hear that Georgia Tech got a big win.
We'll get to that in a
led by
moment.
Haynes King.
We'll get to that in a moment.
Okay.
Did you take the thing from Slack that I sent you?
Yeah, I have it. Okay. I have not watched it.
Oh, you haven't watched it. We'll get to that. Hawaii played a late night game on Saturday night. My wife's second favorite football team.
I played Delaware State, right?
Played Delaware State. SMU tried to spit the bit.
They almost didn't make it.
Yeah, I heard that. SMU tried to spit the bit against Nevada, but didn't. They won, and they don't ask you how, they ask you how many. But probably the showcase game on the besides Trinity Valley Community College against Independence Community College.
Because of course.
TVCC, nice one in overtime. Was instead Georgia Tech's upset win over Florida State in Dublin. It was a top 10 Florida State team, and Georgia Tech went in there and knocked them off. Big win, and of course, the quarterback of Georgia Tech,
Haynes King,
Longview Zone, former Dave Campbell's Texas Football Rising cover boy, and a good friend of Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Easy to root for Haynes King, nice guy, former Aggie. Yep. Right, so I think A&M fans can be fired up for him too. A lot of good vibes coming out of it. But one other person that I think was going to be fired up about it is another Longview Lobo graduate.
Okay.
And actually, let's just go to the tape and see what he thinks about the Georgia Tech win led by Haynes King over Florida State.
You know, there's only one car in all of college football that doesn't need a green light. It wrecks, it rambles, it rolls. It doesn't need a signal to tell it to turn its engine over. It is the 1930 Ford Model A Coupe of Georgia Tech's Ramblin' Wreck. And the driver of that machine just so happens to be a fellow Longview Lobo, Haynes King. He led his Yellow Jackets on a swarm, a great migration across the pond to Dublin, Ireland, where there's a lot of luck, but he didn't need it. He's just good. Those Knowles had revenge on the brain, but they didn't know what kind of wasp nest they were kicking. And the thing about a Yellow Jacket is when it stings your flesh, it doesn't leave its barb in there. It keeps coming and coming and coming. Better get used to the sting of Haynes King, because it's just getting started. But you know, it's always hooking.
Thank you to a fellow Longview Lobo. That was not Matthew McConaughey, believe it or not.
But Lord have mercy.
Guy named Wes Blankenship on Twitter.
Yeah, my God, he sounded just like him.
Pitch perfect.
That's insane.
Yeah.
The amount of confusion that was going on in my brain while I was watching that, I was like, that's not him.
Yeah, you're having like your senses are disconnecting from one another. You're like, I know what I am seeing, and I also know what I'm hearing, and it's discordant.
And those are not the same thing. That's incredible.
Yeah, it's pretty good. That popped across my Twitter this morning. I was like, man, that is that's A+ stuff.
Because it's not only the voice, but the cadence was
the cadence
perfect. The drawl.
It's even just like the words that he used.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The style of speaking.
The sting of a Yellow Jacket.
The sting of Haynes King. I can't do it. But anyway, clearly. I was thrilled to see Georgia Tech get a big win over the weekend. It's a big weekend for GTs.
Okay. Why? It's not always about you.
Isn't it? You know, when I lived in Atlanta, I was a big Georgia Tech fan.
Okay.
We went to a bunch of Georgia Tech games because they were, if I remember correctly, they were pretty terrible, and so tickets were easy to come by.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I passed by the campus going to visit our friends at NFHS.
Yeah, right downtown, right? It's very cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, shout out to the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets and Longview Lobo. By the way, the kicker who made the game-winning field goal He's from Kennedale, I think.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. And then the Tarleton kicker who banged through a 53-yarder, he's from Rockwall.
All right.
Yeah. So big
Texas
weekend for Texas
football.
high school kickers. Anyway, it's football season. Hit the theme, Expo. Yes, y'all. From the new Dave Campbell's Texas Football Mothership here in beautiful Lewisville, Texas, it is Texas Football Today, a show about football during football season.
Yep.
We're also like all year round, but especially, we're broadcasting especially acutely during football season. My name's Greg Tepper. I'm the managing editor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine and TexasFootball.com, a corresponding website. Thank you for spending part of your day with us. Whether you're watching us live, TexasFootball.com, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or you're listening to us on the podcast, which you can subscribe to on the podcast vendor of your choice. Either way, thank you for doing your part to support your local mediocre internet show. I am sitting over there at the helm today, making us sound good. She is the Duchess of the Dork. She is Miss 305. She is Miss Mean Green this week.
Call.
She's Ashley Pickle.
Hi, friends. Happy football season.
Happy football season.
It is here.
My wife really wants to go to a North Texas game this week, or this year.
I was like, well, she's going to have to travel if she wants to go this week. They're on the road.
Yeah. Where are they?
I don't know.
Who
I know
could possibly know?
Their first home game is against SFA, which, by the way, have you looked through the SFA roster as of recently?
They're at South Alabama.
That's it.
No, I haven't.
Okay. It is full of like all the guys that we say, this dude rocks. Like he rocks. He's a football player that rocks. It is full.
That's a classic
Full.
SFA thing.
Ed
Babino.
He's over there.
From Huntsville?
There's a bunch of them, but Ish and I were sitting there the other night going through the SFA roster, and it was like, oh my god, like Cannon Lindbergh, dude who rocks.
It's just a dude's rock roster.
Yeah, and so it's difficult because they play at Daku next week.
Daku.
Yeah, not Apogee anymore. And I was like, you know how hard it's going to be to not cheer for all these guys?
Well, you could.
Yeah, but that seems wrong if I'm Miss Mean Green.
I don't know. You're going to have a choice to make. Today is Monday, August 26, 2024, a mere 94 days until Thanksgiving. Happy 44th birthday to Macaulay Culkin.
Oh my god, he's 44?
44.
Holy cow.
44. It's episode 1793, and it is episode 1 of the 2024 Texas high school football season. Because we're back, baby. We're very back. On today's show, folks, I'm going to present my 5 bold Texas high school football predictions for the season, since we are on the precipice of the Texas high school ball season. 716, I think there are games this weekend.
Let's go.
So put that in your pipe and smoke it. So I'll have 5 bold predictions for the Texas high school football season coming up here. In the back half of the show, like whenever we made the programming change, Pickle, like we had some people who were like, oh, this is different, but I'm interested. But then we also had people who were extremely upset because if Texas Football Today doesn't have a Wednesday show, where do we have This Week in Crootin with Greg Powers? Folks, I have great news for you.
We're so back.
Starting today, every Monday,
Let's
it's
go.
This Week in Crootin with Greg Powers. We'll have that at the back half of the program. So don't you worry your pretty little head. It's back.
More growth.
Do we have first 4 through the door?
We sure do. It was jersey number 69,
Nice.
Daniel Agnew, Josh Wyndham, and big jiggly water balloons. Welcome in, friends.
We are back.
We are so back. Welcome back,
couldn't be
Texas
back.
high school football.
Couldn't be backer. All right. Pickle, we are days, hours really, away from the 2024 Texas high school football season kicking off across the state. I haven't looked up quite yet. I need to go look what time the first game on Thursday is. There's normally
there's usually a 6 o'clock at Legacy or Rhodes,
or there's sometimes there's a random 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock game.
People are just so excited for football that they can't wait the extra hour.
They're all geeked up for it. But in any case, hours away from the kickoff of the 2024 Texas high school football season, we made it. And with the football season upon us, I think it's important to get some things on wax. And to really start taking a look at, make some bold predictions. Of course, the 2024 summer edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football is basically a book of predictions. But those belong to the entire staff. Like, we all sign off on those. Pickle,
right.
in particular, all the wrong predictions that you see, the responsibility of Ashley Pickle, Ashley_Pickle12.
You know me, big magazine gal.
But what I want to do here is issue 5 bold predictions for the 2024 Texas high school football season. And then you guys can judge me at the end of the season and tell me how right I was.
I like when you get them wrong and I get to put the X with the buzzer over the video.
You do like that. You do like that. All right, Pickle, we will start with my first bold prediction.
And that is that we will have a 3,000-yard rusher in UIL 11-man.
That's saying something, because we have not had a 3,000-yard rusher. We did not have any last year. Dawson Pendergrass from Mineola, also on the Dudes Rock list.
Justice for Dawson Pendergrass.
Shout out Baylor. He ran for 3,000 back in 2022, but that is the last time that we had a 3,000-yard rusher. Landon Thigpen from Godley also did it in 2022, but we did not have a 3,000-yard rusher last year. Ricky Stewart from Chapel Hill was the state's leading rusher. I think we're going to get there this year.
Run the
I
damn
think
ball.
we're going to have one. I think there's a couple of guys that I think could do it. Keegan Ash at Mount Enterprise could do it. Ricky Stewart at Chapel Hill could do it if they give him the dang ball. Rung the dang ball. But I think we're gonna have a 3,000-yard
please cut that
rusher in 2024. I think that I'm feeling it. The running game is making a comeback. Passing is so passé. Don't look at future predictions in this exact segment.
Ricky Stewart's hard because of Brisbane being on the same team.
The problem,
that's the difficulty.
The issue with Ricky Stewart getting to 3,000 yards, you're exactly right,
is that they have so many weapons.
Exactly right. That's going to be the challenge. But I do think we're going to have a 3,000-yard rusher for the first time. We're going to get back to a 3,000-yard rusher in 2024. There's bold prediction number 1. Bold prediction number 2, Pickle.
And that would be that the surprise of the year will come from the Houston area.
Okay, so every year there ends up being 1 or 2 teams, 3, 4, 8 teams that nobody saw coming. That shocked us, that came out of nowhere and made some incredible run that we never saw coming. And this year, I think it's coming from the Houston area.
Are you willing to go out and say who you're thinking?
No.
Okay.
But I think that what it speaks to, the reason I make this prediction is, for the past few years, Dallas and DFW has been, I think, the power nexus of especially big school Texas high school football. When we talk, major metro areas, we're usually talking 6A, 5A, some 4As in there, but usually 6A, 5A. And DFW has been the power nexus. I think there is better depth in the Houston area in 2024. And so in order to crystallize that into a prediction, this is the best way that I can do it, is to say that the biggest surprise, the surprise of the year, the team that we don't see coming, the team that went like 2-8 last year and suddenly is going to go 11-2, I think they're in the Houston area. I think that the Houston area is going to produce a shocker. And there's going to be some team. I mean, you can make the argument that Summer Creek was kind of like that last year, right?
Yeah. No, I could see that. And I was going to say, Iowa Colony is always another good one, kind of being that first-year program last year. But now I don't know if that would be that big of a surprise, because they were really good last year with a bunch of freshmen and sophomores.
But I think that the depth in Houston is superior this year. I think it's the deepest area of the state this year. And I think that they are going to produce the biggest surprise of the year. So there is number 2. Prediction number 3, Pickle.
That would be that a first-year head coach will play for a state championship.
So a few different options. You go to texasfootball.com.
And to clarify, are you saying first year as in first-time head coach, or at a new school?
At their new school.
Okay.
At their new school. Okay, so at their school.
So like Todd Dodge would be eligible at
Todd
Lovejoy.
Dodge would theoretically be eligible if Lovejoy went to a state championship game.
Okay.
That's not exactly the team that I was thinking.
Okay.
But like, for example, what if Refugio plays for a title? Drew Cox, of course, is the new head coach there at Refugio. What if Timpson goes back to a state championship game?
Yep.
Right? They've got a new head coach. There are a variety of good teams. That's the thing that I look at, is there are a variety of really good teams that got new head coaches in the past year. For example, it's it'll be difficult, but if Spring Westfield makes a state championship, they of course played for a state, or they of course have a new coach.
Meekin's retired
as well. So I think we will have a first-year head coach at his particular school, first-year head coach, play for a state championship in 2024. Who is it? I don't know. That's why these are bold and vague. That's what we go for here on Texas Football Today.
Capital J journalist.
All right. That's 3 predictions. What about 4?
All right. This one is the least surprising thing that you could not leave out your favorite boy. Armando Luan will set the new career passing record, what is the current passing record at?
The current passing record, and I'm doing some math here. The current passing record is Hunter Lyle from Booker, who threw for 14,408 yards in his career there at Booker. Yes, I know that the player from Houston State Pius X, he bounced around to a bunch of different schools whose name I can't remember at the moment. I know he passed for more. We're talking UIL 11-man passing record. I think that record is going to fall. Now, Armando Luan, my most special boy, my number 1 rated player in the class of 2025.
This is the second episode of TFT in a row that you've talked about.
I've name-checked Armando.
That you talked about him being your favorite player.
He's sitting at 11,137. Okay, he needs 3,271 yards. Okay,
that's a lot.
Yeah, that is a lot.
But he's done 4,000?
He's thrown for 4,000 each of the last 2 years. I think as long as he stays healthy, and as long as Sunray, moving up to Division I, remember, as long as they play to their paper, I think Armando Luan's going to be the new all-time Texas high school football passing leader.
Did we have them winning their district?
What an awesome question, Pickle. There's no way to know. Don't go to texasfootball.com and check. Whatever you do, that would really, you want to talk about roasting me, that'd be terrible.
It would, it would ruin the allure of being bold and vague.
It really would. Okay, that's 4 predictions. My 5th and final prediction, Pickle.
That would be that there will be only one first-time state champion.
Okay.
Only one.
Only one.
Not 2.
Now, this is interesting for a lot of reasons. One is that if you take a look at all of the number 1 teams across our preseason rankings in UIL 11, or UIL, we have 2 teams that have never won a title. Okay? Ganado has never won a state championship, the number 1 team in 2A Division 1.
Yeah.
And Oglesby in 1A Division 2 has never won a state championship. That is basically, for me, I am banking on those 2 splitting it, right? Only one of them. And then there being no party crashers.
Who?
There not being a party crasher that goes and that'll be everything's chalk except for one of those 2 divisions, one of those 2 classifications. So, I think there will be one, but I do not think there will be 2.
The definition of bulletin board material.
I think I really want to wait until Friday, and I'll tell you why. I will make a projection, but I want to tell you this.
I'm holding you to this.
But Friday, Oglesby, or Thursday night, I believe it is, Oglesby plays Abbott. Okay?
Fair.
We'll find out a whole lot about Oglesby because right out of the chute, they're playing the number 2 team in the division above. If they go out there and they smoke Abbott, is game on. I do think that 2A Division 1 for Ganado, the path, like there would have to be a defending state champ, right, in Timpson, presumably in a state semifinal, or Honeygrove. They'd have to get past Refugio in their own region, and then whoever comes out of the left side of that bracket.
It is wild to think about 2A Division 1 without a Brooks brother, a Terry Bussey, and a Refugio's head coach.
Jason Herring.
Yeah, that's wild.
And Shiner's gone.
Wild.
And Shiner's gone.
Yeah.
Like all of these, like there's so much change in 2A Division 1. If you were to ask me who is more likely, Oglesby or Ganado, I'd probably go with Oglesby. Mm-hmm. But I also want to see what happens when they play Abbott. So give me a little bit of time to get a little bit more. What I'm saying is that this is a bold prediction that I'm not standing by. But I do think there will only be one first-time state champion. So there you go.
There you go.
My 5 bold predictions for the Texas high school football season. Let me know what I'm wrong about in the comments. I know you will. We're Texas Football Today. We're here twice a week, Mondays and Thursdays, here on TexasFootball.com, talking football in the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at DCTF, like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbells. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbells, and of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. Hey, you, do you like football?
Yes.
Hey, you, do you like watching football?
Yes.
Well, then perhaps I can interest you in becoming a Dave Campbell's Texas Football subscriber. Not only do you get all sorts of great content on TexasFootball.com, including computer projections of every single Texas high school football game coming Wednesday on TexasFootball.com, but you also get to stream live thousands of live Texas high school events, including hundreds and hundreds of live Texas high school football games, including hundreds of live Texas high school football playoff games.
Wow.
Now, why wouldn't you want to do that? Go to TexasFootball.com/subscribe. Makes a great gift as well. TexasFootball.com/subscribe. And remember, coming up this Friday, 7:30 p.m. on TexanLive.com and on YouTube, the debut of Season 2 of Texas Football Tonight. That's right. Texas Football Tonight, our whip-around show about covering all the biggest games in Texas high school football, dropping in live. It's basically Red Zone for Texas high school football, starring Ishmael Johnson and Ashley Pickle. Also, I will be there Friday night, 7:30 p.m., TexanLive.com, and on YouTube. Of course, it's in partnership with our friends at the University of North Texas. Make sure you go check that out on Friday. Just make us your second screen. Like, make your eyes your first screen, like at a game, and make your phone your second screen and hang out with your buddies.
Yeah, and you can watch that first screen game on Texan Live. Like, we've got a ton of games.
Hang out with your internet friends. TexanLive.com. Coming up here in just a moment, what does Greg Powers think about recruiting? I don't know. We'll find out. But first, a word from these valued partners.
I feel like bustin' loose. Bustin' loose, come on. Get on up. Oh yeah. Get on up. Bustin' loose when you wanna sing. Bustin' loose, baby, do your thing. Talking about bustin' loose, yeah.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Potter, Executive Director of Be Well Texas. Too many people are struggling alone these days, and alcohol and drug deaths are increasing. We started Be Well Texas to offer high-quality, science-based addiction treatment and recovery services anywhere, even at home. We provide compassionate, caring support virtually or in person. In many cases, there is no cost for treatment if you don't have insurance. Really. Welcome to Be Well Texas. We're glad you're here.
Wing is the largest residential drone delivery provider in the world, delivering to your home in less than 30 minutes. Order using an app just like other popular delivery services, and Wing's automated drone takes care of the rest. It's fast, safe, and sustainable, and it's now delivering to parts of Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas. You can learn more at wing.com/TexasFootball. Again, that's wing.com/.
Back here on Texas Football Today. So pleased to be joined by my other half here in the studio, Greg Powers, because I'm Greg Tepper, that's Greg Powers, and this is This Week
in Crootin.
Wow, that's call me by. It's This Week in Recruiting.
We're so back.
With Greg Powers, our Director of Recruiting here at Dave Campbell's Texas Football Follow him on Twitter at GPowerScout. See his fine work at TexasFootball.com/recruiting. And, of course, this is brought to you by our good friend, Chicken Friends at Chicken Express. Chicken Express. I had it for lunch on Friday. That's a true story.
Solid.
And do you know what I got? I hadn't had in a while. It was a little treat myself Friday.
Well, besides the tenders?
Besides tenders. But I treated myself.
Corn nuggets.
Fried pickles.
Oh, nice.
Let me tell you.
And they've got the Kins Ranch, too.
They know what they're doing with those fried pickles. Like, I don't know. I mean, it
They're very good.
It shouldn't be a surprise. From the people who brought you those tendies are the pickles. It's This Week in Recruiting with Greg Powers, our Director of Recruiting. Hi, buddy.
What's up?
Welcome back.
Yeah.
Thanks for doing this. I appreciate you moving things around. It's going to be every Monday here. He's going to be sitting with us. But there's a lot going on in the world of recruiting right now.
Always things are moving in Texas high school football around recruiting, but there's no better time to be a recruitnik than the Texas high school football season, because by and large, every game that you watch is going to have a college athlete playing in it, at least most of them, and that's what is the fun for me of being a fan, is to go out and watch some of these top tier players compete against each other in their quest to bring home that state championship ring.
So let's start with our prospect on the rise. Our prospect on the rise, we're going to Prosper Rock Hill to talk about their senior, now I can say senior because it's football season, senior defensive back, Jaden Bradley. And he is the newest DCTF 3-star. He picked up an offer this weekend from Oklahoma to go along with places like Houston, Kansas State, and Ole Miss. But Jaden Bradley starting to turn some heads there at Prosper Rock Hill.
Yeah, no doubt about it. 6'1", 6'2", 190 pounds. He's a straight dog on the field. During the 7-on-7 season, Bradley was one of my favorite players to watch because he's the guy that commanded attention on both sides of the football, because he would flip over and play some wide receiver, showcase his athleticism, his supreme athleticism on that side of the ball. And he plays with a chip on his shoulder on the defensive side. His recruitment really didn't take off super quick. As a matter of fact, it took him a little while to pick up offer number 1, and then it was like an avalanche of offers. He's actually up to over 20 scholarship offers now. Texas Tech is one that I omitted from that list that I sent to you, and we're breaking down his offers. The Red Raiders also extended him an offer. Oklahoma jumped in the game this week, so it'll be interesting to see, was that a scholarship offer to kind of stem the tide, because Bradley was going to make his decision here coming soon. He announced the top 6 schools, some of the programs that we mentioned. You also throw in Texas State into that mix for the chance to land his commitment, so we'll see where he ends up picking. Can the Sooners change his thought process, and how hard are they going to actually push? Are they going to put the hard sell on him, or are they just extending an offer to get him to delay his commitment thoughts a little bit to see how this season goes? My thought process is they like what they saw, because we've now had a couple of scrimmages, some practices throughout the fall, and I bet you they've gotten that tape and like what they saw from his game, and that's why they decided to jump in the game early with an offer. Jaden Bradley's a freak.
Yeah, something's in the water in Prosper, because they just got all sorts of dudes up there.
And more and more high schools coming all the time
right.
as well.
Yeah, absolutely. But a name to note, Jaden Bradley there at Prosper Rock Hill. Let's roll on to our commit of the week. Our commit of the week was a very big one down there in Galveston County, as Galveston Ball, senior, I don't know, athlete, defensive star.
I still call him safety linebacker. I've always rated him as a safety, but he could play linebacker, and he's an athlete. So
Jonah Williams, the star of the Galveston Ball Golden Tornadoes, pulled the trigger this weekend, committing to Texas over offers from places like A&M, LSU, Oregon, USC, everywhere. He had offers from everywhere. He is now the highest rated commit in the Texas class. He is number 4 in the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Rising Hot 100. He's only a 4-star, but he is ranked 4th, and he's on that 5-star watch list. This feels pretty seismic and a pretty big and important win for Texas.
I think it's always important to reset how we do our rankings here at Dave Campbell's Texas Football. The top 5 players in the state are going to be 5-stars, and the corresponding 45 after them rounding out the top 50. Those will be our 4-star prospects. So only 50 players in the state will be 4 or 5 stars. If you're in that top 5, then you're projected to be a 5-star. So this is a monumental commitment for the Texas Longhorns, giving them 3 prospects within the state's top 10 in this recruiting class, as he joins Kalik Lockett from Saxe and defensive end Lance Jackson from Texarkana Pleasant Grove. Well, Jonah Williams also happens to have been named as the nation's biggest freak by 247 Sports, who does their freak list every year before the start of the season. Well, Jonah Williams is one of those freaks because he's a multi-sport talent at Galveston ball who really is a star in baseball. He was a regional qualifier in the 200 meters in track. Both of his brothers have gone on to have good baseball careers, his older brothers. Jonah's that younger brother that has that chip on his shoulder, and he plays the game that way. There's some really good quotes, TexasFootball.com/recruiting from Sheldon Benight, the head coach at Galveston Ball, who had a tremendous quote. You saw the first play on this highlight was a 100-yard interception return from Jonah. Coach Benight said that he could feel the wind as Jonah ran by him on the sidelines. That's how fast he was. I love that quote from Coach, and that's the type of talent that Williams is bringing to the table for the Texas Longhorns. I project him as a defensive talent, but he did score touchdowns in 7 different ways, I believe, last season. Punt return, kick return, interception, fumble, and receiving, passing, and rushing.
Okay.
So
seems okay.
Yeah.
But no, Jonah Williams is a super duper star and an elite prospect here in the class of 2025, and he is committed to the University of Texas. Big get there for the Longhorns. It's This Week in Recruiting with Greg Powers, our director of recruiting here at Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Get involved in the conversation, hashtag TF Today. Let's
say it again. This Week in Crootin is back.
This Week in Crootin.
Man, I'm fired up for this.
Let's round it out before we have another conversation. Let's round it out with our Underclassmen of the Week. Our Underclassmen of the Week, let's go to Houston. Go to Galveston, go a little bit northwest. Go to Houston, to Richmond. Talk about Richmond Randall sophomore running back Landon Williams-Callis, who picked up an offer this week from Michigan. Michigan, the last game they played, they won, and it was the national championship game. That brings his FBS offer tally for this guy whose next snap will be his first as a sophomore to 35 offers. And I will tell you, when you watch the tape, you're like, 35 seems low. This guy is a menace.
I think he's the Texas high school football version of Barry Sanders. That's what I like about his game. He's able to make people miss in the open field. He's very elusive, has tremendous top-end speed, which helped him qualify, at UIL state track. So it's like bona fide speed. Landon Williams-Callis is a game-changing running back, and I think that his emergence in the Richmond Randall offense last season helped them become one of the top teams in the state, and now they're a legitimate state championship contender. There's a ton of talent on that team, and they're able to build an offense around one of the premier running backs, not only in the Lone Star State, but the entire country. 35 FBS offers makes Landon Williams-Callis one of the most offered players, not only in the class of 2027, but within any classification year here in Texas, and as a matter of fact, across the country. He has all the big dogs in the hunt for his recruitment, and it'll be interesting to see who he ends up ultimately picking. But guess what? We're going to have to bide our time on Landon Williams-Callis because he has 3 years of high school ball left. I don't think that he's going to have a decision coming anytime soon, and there's still plenty of time before he inks his inks his name on a national letter of intent. I have to tell you, though, like that Richmond Randall Fort Bend Marshall game, juicy this year. That's a juicy game.
Randall is on my short list of teams that I'm like legit could play for it all. Like they could absolutely, now in Region 3, Port Neches Groves clears out. It's going to be like them in Liberty Hill and Fort Bend Marshall and a few other programs down there that they're in that mix. And I know that Randall's still a new program, but when you got a guy like Landon Williams-Callis, you're going to have opportunity. He is a super duper star, picking up his 35th offer. Before we let you go, though, I want to talk about a new little venture for you and our friend. You and I have a mutual friend, Mallory Hartley.
Oh, okay. I know where this is going, I think.
Mallory Hartley. I believe you guys have launched a new show. Is this correct?
That is correct. You can watch Heart and Hustle Recruiting every Thursday at 2 p.m. It's going to be on YouTube. And, of course, we'll have an article at TexasFootball.com that you can check out where all the links are going to be included. We're talking Texas teams, Texas talent. Episode 1, we talked about the Baylor Bears and the Red Oak Hawks, two really programs on the rise, I feel like, on the college football and Texas high school football scene. And we've got some special stuff planned for this week as we're going to be talking about the Texas Longhorns, who we kind of previewed their big commitment from Jonah Williams and Austin Westlake. So some reasons to tune in this Thursday.
Well, and because Pickle backed me up on this, but basically everywhere we would go for the last 4 years, people would say, we demand more Greg Powers.
It's the only thing that I hear. They're like, oh, hi, I'm not interested in you. Where is Greg Powers?
Yeah, I want to say your name is Angela or something like that. Like, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like,
It happens every time.
They're like, where's Powers? Well, guess what, folks? We're giving the people what they want. Heart and Hustle, Thursdays on YouTube, you can see with Mallory Hartley. I almost said Ashley Pickle. Mallory Hartley.
It's not me.
And Greg Powers. So more from Greg Powers. He's our director of recruiting here at Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Follow him on Twitter at GPowersScouts. See his fine work at texasfootball.com/recruiting. Let's go over to, one of the great things about the way we're doing shows now is that Powers gets to stay around for the outro.
Yes.
Which is great. Let's go over to Ashley Pickle for America's second favorite segment. Final thoughts.
Coming up tomorrow is Republic of Football. Carter Yates, Mike Craven, Ishmael Johnson, and Mallory Hartley will bring you the latest in what I'm assuming will be some recap there of the
but they'll talk
SMU game.
But they might talk some Tarleton.
Yeah, and then preview for the upcoming college football slate.
Week 1.
Week 1. It's crazy that high school and college have week 1s at the same time this year.
Yeah,
that's wild.
It is. It throws me off because for me, like last year, even though high school football started really early in the calendar, the way that it should work is the first, this week is high school football, next week college football starts, and the next week the NFL starts. Right?
Yeah, I
like
that.
Kind of truncated it because it kind of builds you up. And now it's like high school football and college football are getting go. Like I like just taking a fire hose to the face.
I have to say though, for it being earlier for college football games, I was pretty into the college football.
Did you watch
this weekend?
You watched a little Georgia Tech, little Haynes King?
I watched Georgia Tech. I watched SMU, and I even watched Tarleton's debut on ESPN too. My friend Corey Hogue got me so hyped for that game with some of his previews. I wanted to see what the Purple Poo was about, and I found out on Saturday.
It was a good game. They kind of tried to give it away at the end.
Yeah.
I was a little worried for Tarleton there, but came away with the win. And good crowd out there in Stephenville. It's good times because football's back, baby. Did you stay up and watch Hawaii on Saturday night?
I did not. That was where I
He has
had to draw the line
boundaries
somewhere, and that's where the line was drawn. Although I assume that Braden Shager, former Highland Park quarterback, had a pretty good game because they convinced him to come back.
I presume too. I didn't watch it either. That's going to do it for us.
I have
Thanks
standards.
for spending a little bit of your day with us. Follow us on Twitter at GPowersScouts, or follow him on Twitter at GPowersScouts. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. For Ashley Pickle and Greg Powers, I'm Greg Tepper. Vince Young, please meet your Player of the Year trophy. And guess what? A big, huge first day of the season episode of Texas Football Today coming to you on Thursday.